5. I am your host, Nikkei, and today we're going to be talking about looking not outside yourself to help you break free from being behind in an area of your life, but looking inward. Most late bloomers start with what they need to do outside of themselves in order to help them take steps toward breaking free from being behind. Whether it's reading a book, listening to a podcast, doing as much research as possible, they look to everything else. But that's not true. That's not all that they can do. And that's not the only thing that they should be doing. The first place you really should go as a late bloomer, if you're wanting to break free from being behind in an area of your life and make progress a lot faster, is going inward. Whether that's from your mindset to knowing your values, to being clear on what your desires are, and so many more areas that represent going inward. But today, specifically, we're going to focus on your strengths because we all have strengths. And by definition, a strength is just a good or beneficial quality or attribute that a person has. So strengths come easy to us, and they're things that we're just naturally good at. Do you believe right now, in this present moment, that you have at least one good and beneficial strength? Some of you are like, absolutely, yes. And the rest of you are like, maybe, I don't really know. You feel unsure. Well, by the end of this episode, you're going to feel confident that yes, you do have at least one strength that is good and beneficial. Now, typically with my clients, I provide an assessment before our first initial session that allows for us to review, okay, what are your top strengths? It gives us so many of them. And then we narrow down to the top 5 so that we can make sure we're utilizing them to determine how we can best support them when it comes to their goals throughout our time together. So let's jump into why you should know what your strengths are. First of all, you're going to feel so much more confident if you're aware of your strengths as you go into trying to tackle a goal. Because when I set goals with my clients, I always ask them, hey, how confident do you feel 1 to 10 that you can be successful with this? Because in our sessions, we literally create their goals for week to week. And I ask this question for every single goal because it's important to know that you feel confident with the goal you've set for yourself. And if they don't feel confident, we do what we need to do and modify that goal in order to change their confidence to be higher than a 7. The second reason why you want to know your strengths, especially as a late bloomer, is you'll feel more engaged with your goals and what you're doing because you're focused on using a strength that you do well, that comes natural to you. When you're trying to implement a new habit or achieve a goal, you have something helping you, right? It's almost like you have this built-in allyship when you're using your strengths to your advantage. The third thing is your likelihood of success with whatever goal that you're setting for yourself or whatever habit you're trying to develop is higher because you're using your strengths alongside what you're doing versus if you weren't aware of them and not using them at all. Now, I already know some of you, when I started talking about strengths, were like, I don't have any, I don't know what mine are. And I want to address that and talk about that before we get any further into how to discover your strengths. So first of all, you do have strengths. We all have strengths, right? You saying, I don't have any, that's just your brain taking the easy way out to believe that you don't have any. So you don't have to lean in and really reflect on, okay, what am I naturally good at? We all have them. We use them every single day, subconsciously, whether it's to get stuff done for ourselves or to get stuff done for other people in our jobs. We use them every single day. And the second thing is, I want to ask you, if you do believe you don't have any strengths or you don't know what yours are, what do you use to show up for everyone else, especially when it's like this miraculous thing that you were able to do? And what I mean by that is there are so many times that you've shown up for other people, whether it's friends, family, coworker, your boss, your neighbor, and you barely had the money, the time, the mental bandwidth, the capacity, whatever to do it, but you relied and you used subconsciously the strengths that you naturally have, along with some resilience, some perseverance, some grit, to come through and show up for that person. So what I want you to do is think about, okay, if you're having a hard time thinking, I don't know what my strengths are, write down the times you've shown up for people in your life, from friends to family to a neighbor, coworkers. And then when you reflect on what those situations were, write down what strength did you use in that situation to show up for them. Because at the end, even if you do like 3 different instances, you're going to at least have 3 strengths. You can be like, oh yeah, this is a strength of mine that I have. So now that we got out of the way, the whole objection that you don't have any strengths, I want to share with you how you can discover your strengths. I shared that I give my clients an assessment to take. There are self-assessments online. You could just Google them. There are plenty if you want some facilitation to help you uncover what your strengths are. Second, there is ChatGPT. You can specifically tell ChatGPT why you want to know your strengths and give a little bit of context for who you are, what you do, what you enjoy, what comes easy to you. So use the resources around you to help you uncover your strengths. And so you may be wondering, okay, like, what are some examples of strengths, right? And so I wanted to share with you just a few of the Clifton Strengths, which is a popular personality assessment tool, and it was developed by the Gallup organization. And I wanted to just share some of the Clifton Strengths so that you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about when I say identify your strengths and use these to support you. So one is communication. Individuals with this strength are skilled at articulating ideas and communicating them to others. There's also the strength of being a developer. Individuals with this strength enjoy helping others grow and develop their skills and talents. There's the strength of connectedness. People with this strength, they believe that everything is connected and have a deep sense of spirituality or purpose. There's also the strength of discipline. Those with this strength are highly organized and have a strong sense of routine and structure. And there's even the strength of command. People with this strength are natural leaders who can take charge in difficult situations. I also want to share this one because I thought it was interesting, but even the strength of competition. Those with this strength thrive in competitive environments and enjoy pushing themselves to be their best. So there are so many different ones on this list that the Clifton Strengths has. I would encourage you to go check it out, read up on it, take your own self-assessment, just really be able to see, okay, what strengths do I have? It will literally incite some encouragement and excitement for you to see what you're naturally good at, so that as you go to do the next practical steps I'm going to share with you, you'll be able to feel more excited and hopeful that you can achieve the goals that you have for yourself when it comes to breaking free from an area you feel behind in. So when you're sitting down, let's say you took the self-assessment, you asked ChatGPT, and you have 3 to 5 strengths written down. Write down what those top strengths are. I would prefer if you did your top 5, but if you identify 3, that's great. And once you list out your strengths, let that be a resource that you tap into when you create your goals. So for instance, if you feel behind in the area of your finances and one of your goals is to save $1,000 as an emergency fund, maybe you discover that one of your strengths is that you're deliberative. People with this strength, they are careful and thoughtful in their decision making, considering all available options before acting. You set a goal to not eat out for a whole month in order to put that extra savings towards your $1,000 goal. So the next question you need to ask yourself is, okay, how am I going to use my strength of deliberative to support me in this goal of not eating out for a month so that I can work towards my goal of saving $1,000? You're going to think on that and reflect, okay, being deliberative means I just take time to consider each decision that I make. So when I'm tempted to go and eat out, I'm going to be deliberative and think, okay, I want to go eat out. I want to go get Five Guys. How can I just make that at home? What do I already have to make my own burger and fries at home? How can I go to Aldi and buy a few ingredients to make my own burger and fries at home? How can you use the strengths that you naturally have to support you being successful in the goals you set for yourself? I love talking about this to my clients and anyone who feels discouraged when it comes to making progress in an area of their life they feel behind in, because we all use our strengths every day to serve other people and meet other goals, especially related to work. So why are we not using them for ourselves? Maybe you may think it's selfish or you don't have any strengths, but you have strengths. And what better person to support with those strengths than you to help you get to the place that you want to be in whatever area that you feel behind in? And maybe you just need some extra support and accountability. Well, I do offer that in one-on-one coaching. I support you breaking free from being behind in months, not years. And when we craft your week-to-week goals, I always ensure your strengths are being maximized to its fullest potential so that you can have increased success with your goals and be making progress a lot faster. To hear how I can specifically support you this year, breaking free from being behind, just schedule a free consultation call via the link in the show notes. Now that you know why it's important to know your strengths, how you can discover them, and how you can use them to help you be more successful with achieving your goals, I hope this lights you up to believe that you can break free from being behind in an area you felt behind in for so long by this year's end. Thank you for listening in, and I will catch you on the next episode.